You are now listening to a member of the Disney Podcast family. Head over to Disney Podcast Family on Instagram to see all the latest posts for this show and links to other great Disney podcasts.
Welcome back to Miles from Main Street. We are going to talk about driving to Walt Disney World.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's a wild ride in the woods.
When indiscriminate travel doors change.
Hello, Stuart. Welcome back.
Hello, Brian. How are you?
I'm all right. My daughter
Good.
performed in a play this past week, and it was very tiring for her, obviously. I don't know why, but I ended up developing a migraine at the end of the week. And
Uh-oh.
I'm finally over it today. So it's been a week. We're a little behind.
Theater can do that to you.
It can. It can.
As
That's okay.
someone who does theater, it there's a reason they call the week before the show what they call it. I don't call it that. I call it something else. But people can get it's tiring. It is really tiring.
Yeah, and all I was doing was, well, the first couple nights I helped out backstage, so standing around, which wasn't a big deal. I don't know. I was just watching. Those chairs are kind of uncomfortable that they had, but they're working on that. So, a community theater in town in Green Bay here that is a wonderful organization, and I am very happy that my daughter's involved, and hopefully she continues with it.
And you'll just have to start helping out.
Yes, I'll have to help out more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the guy that directed this play has been involved for 8 years, never did theater in his life prior to his daughter getting involved, and now directed a play for them. So watch out.
Yeah. Community theater is great for that. I'm the president of our community theater up north of you guys, and we thrive on the fact that people show up and it's like, I've never done anything and I want to do it now. And I'm like, great. Keep showing up. That's the number one thing. Just keep showing up. We will work with you on helping you do whatever you want to do. However you want to direct, we'll work on getting you direction. You want to act, well, there's lots of people who want to act, but we'll work on it. We'll just keep showing up, just keep being here. And so, if Mia wants to be part of it, then she should just keep showing up.
Yep.
And community theater is great for that. It's absolutely great for that. So
I think she had a really good time too. So yeah, we're going to talk driving to Disney World. I've heard this coming up online a lot, and so I thought maybe we could talk about it. I have done it a couple of times. Stuart, have you?
We've driven from here a couple of times, once. But I drive a lot, driven a lot. So cross country a lot too. So we've got tips and tricks for both of those. I don't know anything about that, but we can talk about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So before we get into it, though, please like and subscribe to the show on your podcast app or on YouTube, and be sure to share it with your friends and family. Remember, we have new episodes every Tuesday. And on Fridays, find the Disney Dash, a short-form podcast with my daughter, Mia, where she is talking Disney from A to Z from a kid's perspective. She has letter M coming up this week. She did a lot of singing last week with The Little Mermaid, so go check it out if you haven't yet.
Can you tease what's M?
I cannot. No.
Oh,
do that thing. You'll have to tune in to find out.
You'll have to tune in to find out.
All right. So driving.
Yeah.
Up here in
Yes.
Wisconsin, it's a hefty ask.
I just Googled it. So I've just pulled it up on Google Maps, and it's uh, 21 hours, 21 and a half hours, depending on which route you take. But basically, you can either go through Illinois or Ohio. No, Illinois or Indiana. Sorry. Ohio's way far east. You wouldn't do that.
No. No,
Uh,
so there is two routes. Yes, you can go all the way through Illinois, and I think you avoid Nashville that way.
no, they both come like this, whoop, into Nashville, and then you go Nashville down.
Okay, so we have gone through Chicago and
Mhm.
Indianapolis down to Nashville. We have not gone the other route, only because I believe it was a little bit shorter. Now, 21 hours, that's straight driving, no stopping. You
Right.
obviously need to stop, and I have some stories for you on that, but plan 24 hours of driving with stops.
When we did it, it was 2 days. We did 2 days. You drive down there, you get to Nashville on the first day, and then the second day you get in, or somewhere, somewhere around there. When we went, we got there was a really bad accident in Milwaukee, and we couldn't. We were in traffic for probably like 2 hours just sitting there. And yeah, that's what happens when you drive cross country, though. When you drive and long haul driving, that's
Yeah.
absolutely what happens. You're like, well, we're stuck here now. The day
So
we planned.
2019, we drove down and back. And maybe we'll just talk about driving down first, and then we'll talk about the trip back. So driving down, the first time I knew we were going to stop at a hotel and spend the night. And it was peak spring break. I mean, let's have the spring break of all spring breaks, right? So every stop we made, each gas station was packed,
Mhm.
because people are either coming and going. And I believe we left on a Friday night. I'm trying to remember because I've done it twice. I think we left on a Friday night so we would be down there on Saturday, and then drove back Saturday and get home on Sunday. But anyway, we were heading down, and we got to Nashville, and we could not find a hotel for less than $250.
Ugh.
And essentially, I mean, we were getting there about 5 o'clock. So that's what it was. We got up early that Saturday morning and went. That's what it was. So we got down there at Nashville area around 5, and there was an accident somewhere, and the time to get to Nashville kept increasing on Google Maps, and
Yeah.
not good. And eventually, it gave me another direction to go. So we took a left turn off of the main interstate and headed this other way. And amazingly, the car in front of us had Haunted Mansion themed stuff on it. So that was fun. We got to see that, and I wish I could remember the license plate. I'll have to dig it up. We took a picture of it. It was fun. But anyway, we get to Murfreesboro instead, and we found a hotel there that was
Mhm.
cheap. Waffle House next door. I mean, we
Can't go
literally
wrong
slept
with the
for
Waffle
6
House.
hours and got back in the car and left, right?
Yep.
So we parked the car, and across the parking lot from this hotel, and this is why I'm bringing this up. People are asking what stops to make, where to go, things like that. So we left at like 4 in the morning from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and drove to Nashville, or Murfreesboro in this case. And just so happened that the exit that we went at and got this hotel, there was the Go USA Fun Park. which was a quick walk. The reason we drove that year is we were taking our camper down. So when we got there, I didn't want to have to unhook the camper and drive around and stuff. So it was nice that we could walk across the parking lot to play mini golf, some video games. It had mini golf and I think batting cages and some video games, like a big arcade inside. I did check. They are still in business. I can actually give you guys the address if you want it so that you can plan accordingly as you're driving down there. 1 second. The Go USA, it has a welcome to fabulous Go USA Fun Park. Big Las Vegas type sign, but it's 2270 Armory Drive in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It looks like they might have some deals going on. Oh, go-karts even, and a driving range. So kids loved it. We did that. We ended up actually taking the car then and driving to find some dinner. Again, spring break, right? There was a Steak and Shake there that I wanted to go to because Steak and Shake's good. And
Steak and Shake is real good.
I couldn't even get in the front door. They were so busy. So we ended up at Jack in the Box, which was my first Jack in the Box. I'll tell you, everyone was impressed. We would love to go to another Jack in the Box. So
Jack in the Box is good. I'm not going to say it's not good. It's of a type. Let's say it that way. It's hefty.
On this particular trip, we did end up having some friends that were doing the drive the same time, unbeknownst to us. And we saw them posting stuff on Facebook that they were making the trip to Disney World as well. And they did stop in the mountains area in Tennessee and did some hiking. So there is that to do. I have never actually seen the mountains that you drive through in daylight. We've always hit them in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And in this case, we got up at 4 a.m. again to head out because it's another 12 hours to Disney. And we had made a 6 p.m. dinner reservation. The plan was to get there at 4, get things set up with our camper, and then go get dinner. We got there 5.
Which it's not bad.
Not bad.
It's not bad.
No. But along the way we stopped at Buc-ee's.
Ooh, now see, I've never done Buc-ee's.
Yes, we did stop at Buc-ee's. It's a one and done for me. I guess I'm not a connoisseur of convenience stores or whatever you want to say. But if you've never been, I would highly recommend it.
We are spoiled up here though, because Quick Trip is pretty fabulous. I'm gonna be honest.
That's true. That is true. I did get some beef jerky. I can't remember what hot food I ended up buying. I was impressed by the sticky floor and wall of soda fountains, like lard, like it was huge. Okay, like these alcoves by the bathrooms that had just soda fountains all over the place.
Oh,
so
all right.
That was kind of interesting.
Were they different types of soda?
Yes. Yeah. Like if you go into, well, any fast food restaurant and you serve yourself, like they had banks of those.
Right. But we're not talking like there was no Beverly or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay.
In fact, if you think of it like Beverly or Club Cool, like they probably had 2 or 3 of these banks the size of Club Cool.
Right. But they're not weird, or they're all the same.
No,
it's all Coke and Pepsi. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And so that was kind of interesting. They have a clothing store. They were selling grills. I mean, they've got more gas pumps than you'll ever need to see in your life. So that was in Georgia, right off the highway, easy on, easy off. We stopped at and you'll see billboards for it leading up to it, the Magnolia Plantation. It's just this big white house, and they sell everything pecan and everything Georgia. And it was actually a nice stop that we made. We needed to stop at that point and picked up a couple of Georgia things, praline and a couple of other snacks, and made the rest of the trip. We hit we hit I-75, and I started swearing. That's where everything went wrong.
You know, Doofenshmirtz has his evil layer of evil there, and it really is just the worst place ever.
I-75, like, as soon as you hit Florida on I-75, just be
Yeah.
ready to stop, because there's going to be slowdowns and stops along the way.
Mhm.
And once you can get off of that, and I believe it's called the Florida Turnpike, I think you have to take that from
Yeah.
I-75 to Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fine. It's getting from the Florida border down I-75
Mhm.
to that turnpike. Just be ready for slowdowns. It's going to happen. It could be a Sunday afternoon with nothing but sun in your face, and there's going to be something,
Yeah.
like it's just a bad spot. So those were some of the stops we made. I know some people like to stop near Louisville and the Louisville Slugger. There's some stops there as well with that. So that's a good place to stop.
When
Before
we
you leave
oh,
Wisconsin, there's always Mars Cheese Castle. But I don't
I
think
mean, who doesn't love Mars Cheese Castle?
I've
Really?
never been there. Never.
I've driven past it a bunch.
I mean,
So yes, when we drove down there, we started 2 hours north of Green Bay, but that's because we're 2 hours north of Green Bay,
sure.
and we made it to Murfreesboro again. Even though we had to go through the horrible accident in Milwaukee and Chicago and all of that, but you just keep on trucking and um. It, when I was a kid and we did long haul trips like this, we didn't have DVD players in the van, right? All we had was books or, looking out the window. And it's very my day. When we did it with the one time we did it, we had DVD players in the van, and they were able to watch all of the Disney movies that we could put on DVD players. And then we don't like when we drove, we're driving. We're not stopping at, the Mars Cheese Castle or or the arcade in Murfreesboro. You're driving, you're getting to the hotel, you're going swimming. Swimming is a big part of it, but you're getting
Sure.
back in the car and you're getting back on the road. Um, I don't remember if we had reservations that night that we got there, but this is when we went to Port Orleans and stayed there. So, and the timeshare that we also have access to. So it was a pretty fun, like just getting down there. And I listened to lots of music, and the Princess and the Frog soundtrack, Almost There, was playing a lot because we were almost there, almost. um,
Yeah.
but there is nothing better, no matter what you go through on I-75 or accidents in Milwaukee or when we drove through Nashville, it looked like Sauron had his tower because of the fog and everything, right? No matter what you do, what you get through, as soon as you hit that arch that says Walt Disney World, you're fine. It's fine. Everything's
Yes.
fine.
Everything's
Nothing
fine.
else matters.
You're no longer tired in the
Yeah,
driving. You're just happy. Yeah. You're
yeah.
right.
And so we've driven down there and we've flown down there. and both are pretty cool. You know, it is cool to get on the first ride of your trip and at MCO and ride the monorail to the that's cool. But there is something about crossing that, just going under that arch that is
Yes.
just it's just magical. Chef's kiss magical,
There
right?
you go.
It's just
And seeing
it's
those purple road signs.
yep,
Yep.
yep. Now, I'm just now remembering this. So we must have driven there when I was a real little kid, right? 12 years old or whatever. And I seem to remember they had an AM station so that you tune your radio to the AM station and they would broadcast like coming to Disney World, or Mickey would come on and be like, "Hiya, pal," or whatever, road conditions if nothing else, right?
Mhm.
So that was, once you got close enough to there, you could start like hearing um the Disney, being under that Disney bubble thing. I don't think they do that now, because why would they? Because
Right.
what kids, do you know what AM stations are?
Do you know what FM
Um,
stations are? Uh,
the radio. Do you have any concept of the radio?
it's
Um,
funny when I would play just the radio station and a song would come on that Mia doesn't like. She'd go, "Can we listen to something else?" And it's like, well, no, it's the radio. I don't have control.
we can find another radio station.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, my first experience with driving down was actually not driving down. I got to fly. But I had gone down to that area for a marching band competition in high school. And so our truck drove the entire way. And of course, they had to leave before we did. And the one thing I can remember is when we got there, they said, "I saw them pull in just a little bit ago, and they've all got toothpicks in their eyes." It was 3 guys that took the truck down, and they were switching driving. And that's all
Ooh.
I really knew, like, how difficult
Oh.
that is, right? So, um,
Yeah.
it's hard driving through. So the second time I said, "I don't wanna stop. I don't wanna spend the $100. I don't wanna waste the, time to sit in a hotel when I just wanna be there." And so I've put the video out on, the Instagram and Facebook pages before of Mia jumping up and down with a card in her hand, and we had surprised her as we picked her up from school. We were all there, car packed, and the card that we handed her said, hi ho, it's off to Disney we go. Right now, we're not kidding." And she read that through it, and the video's out there if you guys wanna go find it. And maybe I'll repost it just because it's so fun, but she saw it and just jumped up and down, went crazy, and we all piled in the car, and literally off we went from school. So, we drove straight through and made some of the same stops, not the Murfreesboro one, although we did wave at the Jack in the Boxes we went by and stuff, but, um we drove straight through. We got to I-75 in Florida, and, I hit the rumble strips on the side of the road a little bit, and my wife looks at me and she says, "You okay?" And I said, "Yep. You wanna drive?" "Okay." And I fell asleep. I passed out for a good hour and a half,
Yeah.
and I woke up
And
and
you went 5 miles.
well, she was ticked because as soon as I fell asleep, there was traffic that she was sitting
Yeah.
in, and that was the one thing she didn't wanna do, is have to sit in traffic. Oh, well,
No matter when you hit I-75, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna have traffic.
exactly, exactly. So, we, we'd made it through that too. Um, And that one we were staying at the Contemporary, and you roll in and you
Doesn't matter.
aren't tired anymore. You don't care.
Yeah,
I
doesn't
think
matter.
we went to bed a little bit early that night, only because we were getting up early and hitting the ground running the next
Mhm.
day. But otherwise, I don't remember feeling tired when we got there.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. You don't. You
Let's talk
don't.
about
It
coming
doesn't
back,
matter.
having to go home.
I mean, it's always no matter how you get home, leaving is hard. It always is hard.
It's
It
always
doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you're getting on a plane, you have to pack up your bags, or if you are going to pack up the car, or if you are going to walk out. It doesn't matter. It's hard.
I had prior to the 2019 trip of driving down, I had never been faced with leaving at whenever I feel like. I always had Magical Express pick
Mm,
me up. So I had a time that I had to be on that bus, right? Like I
mhm,
didn't have a choice. I had to be on that bus. So when it came time to leave that first trip, we had rented a golf cart from somebody off property. When we got there, luck would have it that they were able to leave a cart for us on property. So we just had to go and grab it when we got there. Um, because when we left, I had to go off property over by the Disney Springs area to a parking lot, get his trailer, bring it back to my campsite, load up the golf cart, bring that to him, and then go back.
mhm,
So, knowing all of this, it's a good hour of having
mhm,
to do this, right? So, get everything packed up, get the camper put away, send the family to the pool.
mhm,
I I may have even dropped him off there with the golf cart. But then I go pick up the trailer, load up the cart, take the trailer back, come back. Now I've got my camper out in auxiliary parking because I've had to check out. I've got my car out at the front of the campground, so I have to get on a bus to get me to the pool. Again, had all this planned out, gonna get there, get the family, grab the bus, back out to the front, head out at noon, right? Timing was perfect. It's a little before noon. I'm on the bus heading to the pool, and I'm messaging my wife, and I say I'm on my way, and she said they're having a really good time, and it was the best weather day of the entire trip.
mhm,
It was 80. The sun was bright and shiny. Um, it was beautiful. So I'm rolling up to the pool, and she's like, "Do you want me to get him ready?" I'm like, "Heck no." I want to have some fun. We had had
One
a
less.
Mickey pretzel at the table pool, and kids played. They were doing Disney trivia, music trivia. They won
Mhm.
that, of course. And then next thing I know, it's 2 o'clock. It's like, okay, we're gonna drive as far as we can. Well, it gets to be about 8 o'clock, and the kids are hungry. My wife's like, we should just stop. So we made it 6 hours, which is Macon, Georgia. If I can make any plea, it is. And please listen. You don't have to listen to anything else I say. Please listen. Do not stop in Macon, Georgia.
No offense to anybody living in Macon, Georgia, by the
No,
way.
no, but I,
It's a wonderful town.
I don't remember. I think it may have been a Ramada or something that we stayed at. Room was fine. Wasn't it's not the Four Seasons or anything, but park the car, go into the room, and of course I'm cheap, so I have to find space for my kid to sleep on the floor. But we did that. We got up and we went to go have breakfast, and that had to have been the worst breakfast I've ever had. And they were charging people that don't stay there like $10 for it.
Oh, geez.
Like, this is like watery grits, eggs that aren't fully cooked. Like, it was not good. Like, um, so anyway, that was the longest trip home. It took us 20 hours from that point. And there was one stop where we got off of the highway and I couldn't get to the pump. And I was always trying to fill every time we'd stop, so I'd be filling around anywhere between the quarter tank, half tank,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in there, right? Couldn't get to a pump. So I sent everybody in. We did our business, come back out. We're driving on the on-ramp. And my daughter says, I need to go to the bathroom. You literally were just in there. Like, so onto the highway, off the highway. I need to get gas anyway, whatever. So yeah, we got home after 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. We
Yeah.
sent the kids to school the next day. So
That's yeah. I don't remember if we did that with that Disney trip, but there's been many a trip where we go, okay, no. Everybody just stay home in your PJs. Just it's okay. Um, it's not so bad. I mean, yes, you are 20 hours from Walt Disney World, right? But we're 22 hours from that, right? To go anywhere, like if you want to go to Costco in Green Bay, it's like let's just go to Costco in Green Bay. It's a 4-hour excursion for us. We have to think about, okay, can we plan 4 hours to do this just to go to Costco? And really it's like 6 because you can't just go to Costco. You have to like travel through Costco. So and then it's uh, uh, another 2 hours at Woodman's or whatever, which is by the way maybe the best grocery store in the world. But so the point is, we've had lots of traveling. I mean, I can remember as a little kid getting the same note, maybe not exactly the same note, but get in the car, we're going. Where are we going? To the beach, to Disneyland, to, Knott's Berry Farm or whatever. And that was a 4-hour drive, right? Like, it's a weird thing to have to get in the car and be like, okay, we're not leaving for 20 hours to get down there. And then yeah, I was just thinking about like you drive and drive and drive and drive and drive and drive, and you feel like you're finally in a rhythm, and then somebody goes, I gotta go to the bathroom. It's like
Yep.
we're just now in a rhythm. There's no traffic. Come on. And when you're driving with kids, you get out, it's not a quick into the store. It's not a quick, okay, everybody to the bathroom, we're going. No, it's okay. We're here for another half hour, 45 minutes. Because everybody's got to go use the facilities. Everybody's got to get their drink. Everybody's got to get some food, and with us, because we have so many, food issues, it's not just let's roll up to Jack in the Box. It's okay. We have to go find a grocery store. We have to get some lunch meat. We have to get, hopefully they'll have some sort of like, maybe there's a gluten-free thing. We have figured out that we can go to very specific restaurants and order things very specifically, and they will make it for us. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You Whopper patties are $1.50. Well, they used to be only 50 cents, but now they're $1.50. Whopper patties are $1.50. You can just order as many as you want. Did you know that? No,
No.
because you don't have to order Whopper patties, but I
Yeah.
can order Whopper patties, and or that's what I can feed my child, right? So now we're searching for Burger Kings, right? So so it's not just like we could roll up to a Jack in the Box, which, like I said, I enjoy Jack in the Box. I grew up in Southern California. I've had my fair share of Jack in the Box, right? Um, but traveling with kids, especially traveling with kids and driving, it's more complicated than you think it should be. Like if you and I were to go down there, we'd make it down in 20 hours, right? I'd drive for a couple hours, you drive for a couple hours, we'd get gas, we'd
But you-
swap, and we'd keep going, right? But when you have kids, you try to drive when they're asleep because that means you can get the most driving done. And if that speedometer goes like this a little bit, nobody's looking at you.
yeah. My kids
I,
did a really good job. When we left the hotel that first trip down, they slept for a good
yeah.
3 hours. But even when they were awake, I mean, we had the iPads or whatever tablets um, fired up and downloaded with movies and things for them to watch and games to play. And um, I've always been impressed with my kids because they do well with traveling. They know what's coming, I guess, and
Hmm.
they're not going to throw a fit. Um, if anything, I'm probably the worst because it's Dad, I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, come on, we're, we're going here.
Here's a bottle. No, 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 don't do that to your children, even though you want to.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So
but here's the cool thing about it, right? You we listened to, gosh, what did we listen to? I think we listened to, they made a movie out of it. This wasn't Bread. No,
I have
it
no
was an
idea.
audiobook. Yeah, it went out of my head. It was an audiobook, and it had just been made into a movie, and it was like this
Harry Potter.
classic. No, I mean, we've listened to Harry Potter. I've listened to Harry Potter a bunch, but it wasn't Harry Potter. It was a Disney movie. Now it's gonna okay. Doesn't matter. We listen to an audiobook, right? We listen to music. They watch, like I said, they watched all the Disney movies. You have that ability to like build that anticipation.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Everybody gets to wear their t-shirts, and you get to think about things. You get to go, okay, what are you going to ride? What do I want to ride? You're also, you know I mean, we've got cell phones, right, that have pretty good data ranges. You're checking the My Disney Experience app. You're making sure that you can get your lightning lanes, or whatever they're called today. You're making sure you can do all that stuff. You're double checking your reservations. You're triple checking your reservations. And in my case, you're quadruple checking your reservations just to be sure. Because who knows? Who knows what can happen? You're also looking for those new reservations, right? You're constantly refreshing that. You want your thing for Ogas, which you're never going to get, but you're going to try a whole bunch to get your Ogas Cantina, seats. So there's a lot good about driving down. Um, if we were even half that close, like if we lived in Nashville or Tennessee or anything like that, we'd probably be there a lot more, because it's easy to get there. I have friends who live in Georgia, and they're like, yeah, we just drove on down, like, because it's a day,
Right.
or a couple hours. For us,
Right.
it's a good 2 hour. It's a good 2 days. I mean, not just 2 hours, but it's a good 2 days to
Right.
get down there. And you know, and I would have a hard time like purchasing park tickets for the day we arrive. I would, we would be more likely to be like, okay, we got a reservation at Boathouse or somewhere in Disney Springs, just to sort of do something, but not, you know, go into the park, because park tickets being as much as they are, you don't necessarily want to burn one of those for like 4 hours of a park ticket. Now,
Right.
if you were doing a party, that might be like, I had never thought about that. That might be worth it. If you're driving down there and you're supposed to get there at say 4 or 5, and the party starts at 6, I maybe could be convinced of doing that, but I don't think I could drive those days,
No,
right? Because
I I have done it, and we did it in at the end of 23. We flew down and did a party that night, and that's what we did in October as well with my daughter. We flew down and went to the party that night. Um, that's easy enough to do. We did have really early morning flights in October that, you know, getting through the park or getting through the party until midnight got to be a chore a little bit for my daughter. It got to be a long day, right? She didn't really have a chance to catch up. Um, I think actually, no, I say that again. We did get a little bit of an hour nap before we went to the party because our room was ready, surprisingly. But anyway, enough of that. But I would be hard pressed to drive down 24 hours and want to go to a party that night. It'd
I,
be it would be a difficult, I think.
it would be something that crossed my mind. I don't think I could actually say that I would do it, but I would think about it, I think. I don't know. I would be hard pressed to do a party as it is, right? Much less after driving for 24 hours.
Yeah.
But I could see it if that's something that you wanted to do. If it was a special party, like you were going to a D23 special event, or you were going to, you were going for the party, then maybe, I don't know. But I certainly wouldn't do park tickets, not entering at 4 o'clock in the afternoon if
No,
that's as early as you got there.
no.
Um,
We don't ever go in the day we arrive to a
yeah,
park. We always find other things to do that day, and get ready to go to the park the next day because we rope drop to close.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
And And honestly, that's why I love Disney Springs. That's really, I mean, I know there's other podcasts that call it the fifth gate, and I really believe that it is, because there's enough there, especially at night. There's enough there to like entertain you for a few hours, even just to get enough to be like, okay, I'm here, I've arrived, I've gotten my, souvenir, I got my pin, I got my whatever. I've had a chance to go through World of Disney and be in that atmosphere, be in that bubble,
right.
um, and get the taste of it, and then you go into your park.
And there's nothing wrong with just hitting the pool right away either. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
true
people do.
too.
And they, don't forget that new perk this year of getting a free water park pass for the day you arrive. Um, there are plenty of flights that land before noon that make that
hmm
option.
And we've never done any of the water parks
Us either.
or the golf courses. I don't play golf, so whatever. And if we go down there, we're spending a lot of money for park tickets, right? And I don't know that we would make the choice to spend it on water parks. But again, sometimes they're built in, not necessarily built in, but you can amortize the cost of something like that across the 7 days or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And again, it's a travel agent. That's a conversation you have with a travel agent, because you should, and if nothing else, go to the pool, especially if you're going right now. So if
Yeah.
you're going at the end of February, early March, or the end of, even worse, if you're going to like the end of January, early February, and you're coming from northern latitudes, get yourself to the pool. Just get there at 4, get yourself to the pool. You'll be fine. It'll be worth it. I promise.
Yeah, so I think, if you want to drive, definitely consider your family, what they're like, uh,
Mhm.
how you would handle the driving part of it with your family, how you would handle getting through the stops. Hopefully we've given you some great ideas for places to stop along the way. I think the Murfreesboro stop was a great place to stop.
I think we stopped there too. I think like I don't remember exactly, and I'm not going to pull up anything, but I seem to remember Murfreesboro stopping. So like, wouldn't it be funny if we stopped at the same place? Because
Yeah,
it's a nice halfway point.
it is.
The other thing the other thing that we consider when we talk about going down there is if you have a week, right, and you have a week off of work or your vacation's 5 days or whatever it is, and you have 7 days of travel time, do you really want to spend two of them on each day? So 4 days total. I can't see my thing. 4 days total traveling. And so then you're really only in the parks for 3 days. And when my wife and I and my family and I think about these things, we're like, wait a second, we don't want to spend 4 days traveling. We want to spend one day traveling or 2 days traveling there and back and have our park days. And so we've often had the conversation about driving down there and then dismissed it because we'd rather spend the days in the park. And honestly, after you amortize, after you have gas and hotel and all that sort of stuff, it's basically airfare. Um, and in my
It,
experience,
it
it's
used to
always
be
kind of
that way.
balanced.
The first time we went, obviously I was taking the camper, that's why we drove.
Hmm.
It probably would have been about the same for gas or for airfare at that time. That was 2019. 2021, we made a last minute decision about 6 weeks prior to go over spring break. And looking at airfare would have been $2,500 for my family.
Right,
And so to drive was 8. So that's why we drove
right.
that second time. Um, it's
You have
just
to think about that.
and
That's
and
a
airfare is getting kind of crazy right now,
It is. It is.
especially at
And
spring break.
especially at spring break, and especially if you're going to try to make, if you're going to go from here to there and not have to go also to New Orleans or Houston or, you know, wherever, right? If you can get a nonstop into MCO, then yeah, airfare is probably a reasonable situation. But if you're if you're going from elsewhere and you have to go to also New York City to get down to MCO, then no, probably not worth flying. It's probably worth driving. I've got friends who live on the Eastern Seaboard and they make it in a day, right? They're like, "Yep, we're going." Boom.
Right.
That's perfect, right? Um,
But when you're coming from Wisconsin, I mean, this last trip we took, we had a party at a friend's house in the Milwaukee area the night before we left. So we did the party, slept at their house for 4 hours, realized that from their house it's an hour and a half to get to O'Hare. So we were up at 3 or 3:30, I believe, so that we would be to O'Hare in time and catch our 7 a.m. flight.
mhm.
And we needed all of that time to get there. So when you're thinking about, even if we had just driven the 3 hours from here to O'Hare and then get on a flight for 2.5 hours,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that bad as 24 hours.
No, no,
But there's
that's
times that I sit there and I think, well, then it's another half-hour drive from the airport to Disney, and then,
mhm.
like, am I really saving all in? I mean, it's a day. you really are spending a day.
When we were talking about our we had about 36 hours that we could travel, and we were contemplating going to Disneyland or Disney World. And we actually had at some point a chart that had, okay, we're going to spend 7 hours in the air to fly to LA, or 4 hours in the air to fly to Orlando. Yes, LA is 3 hours ahead, but however, we had all this measurements, right?
Right.
Those are the conversations you need to be thinking about when you're traveling, especially traveling from, not Los Angeles or California or Florida, right?
Yeah.
Within a day, because it's huge. And if you know Milwaukee has direct flights out of with not Spirit, not Frontier. What is it? What's the one? Southwest.
Southwest.
Milwaukee has direct flights with Southwest.
Yep.
You can get to O'Hare pretty easily. You can get to Mid. I mean, I don't think you'd want to fly out of Midway, but we can get to Chicago pretty easily. Green Bay has good flights, right? But even then, you're still. It's a day of travel, like you just were saying. It's not the easiest thing in the world to get there.
But
But once you
all the time, right? It's just something you got to do, and you got to get there. And we've talked about it already that I'm not going anywhere this year. I am waiting. We're actually starting to talk about what it's going to take to get my daughter to DCP next spring. And it's looking like a drive down in January, hoping for a weekend trip in February, and then a spring break in March, and so that we can see her down there and do all the Disney stuff that we want to do as well. So, there's a lot of planning going into that, and trying to figure out how we're going to afford all of it. And so that's why we're not traveling this year. But
once you go under that arch, it doesn't
it's
matter.
all good.
That's
All
right.
right, guys. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Remember, episodes are every Tuesday. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And as a bonus, leave us a comment and we'll read it on the show. Better yet, find the link or text the show in our show notes and we'll read that on the show. As we like to say, some live close.
But others don't.
So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.